At our recent trip to the World Soybean Research Conference in South Africa, we spoke with Thomas Mielke, who's the director of Oil World in Hamburg, Germany. Thomas spends most of his time analyzing the supply, demand, and prices of oilseeds, including soybeans. One of his main topics during his speech in Durban was how the world is currently facing a major soybean shortage.
Well, there's a volume problem in the world. Insufficient production or insufficient supply as compared to demand. This volume problem is quite significant, and you know, you can see this if you look at the U.S. soybean disposals. They have been record large. Exports of soybeans, crushing of soybeans, exports of soybean meal, record large. Until January, even February was a high month, and the result is that U.S. soybeans will be reduced by 11, most likely by 12 million tons from a year ago at the end of February. Front-loaded disposals of soybeans in the U.S. because all other countries in the rest of the world did not have enough soybeans. So front-loaded crush in the U.S., minimum stocks at the end of February in the U.S., and the world is shifting to South America. Big question is, well, we have a good crop on paper, a little bit less soybeans in Argentina because of drought, but the big question is, can these beans be shipped in a timely way to satisfy world demand, or, and this is very likely that we have a lot of soybeans on paper, but infrastructure deficits and lack of farmer selling in Argentina results in smaller than required monthly exports of soybeans and products out of South America in March, April, May, June, keeping the volume problem intact. And also on a world basis, we are hardly replenishing global soybean stocks at the end of this crop season, which is end of August. So there is a very high dependence on good weather and an increase in soybean plantings in the US this spring. It is quite a critical situation because of also the supply outlook for the other oilseeds like rapeseed, sunflower seed, cottonseed, and others on the one hand, and the strong demand on the other hand.
The demand, what do you look like, if there was a chart, a 10-year chart that says what demand you think will look like for soybeans, soy oil, soy meal, what does that chart look like?
Well, the volume problem is an immediate problem.
Right.
At the moment, livestock producers in the US are getting very concerned how they are going to satisfy their requirements for their livestock, for the pigs and poultry this summer. It's not a question of 2 years or 3 years. You in the US, you simply do not have enough soybeans to crush to satisfy your meal demand. So the question now is, what quantity can logistically be handled and imported? What quantity of soybeans and soybean meal can be handled and imported into the US this summer out of South America to satisfy US requirements? Longer term, 10 years down the road, of course there is a potential to solve this. High prices normally take care of itself. High prices help to promote production, this is likely to happen, but we have to make the homework. We have to solve the infrastructure problems, problems in South America, particularly, but also in other places, so that actual exports can satisfy demand in the future.
What about for South Africa here? When we told people we were going to a conference here in South Africa, they asked how widely grown soybeans were in South Africa. Can you paint the picture of maybe the beginning and where they are now, the growth in soybeans that they've seen?
Oh yeah, quite a success story for South Africa here, starting from scratch very, very small, 0.1 million tons produced 10 years ago. Now they have almost increased their soybean production by 10 times over the past 10 years. Close to 1 million tons likely to be produced next year, probably slightly more even. That is a success for them, although very small in the global perspective, helping South Africa to satisfy part of their increasing requirements, protein requirements and vegetable oil requirements by domestic soybean production, but it's only part of it. Production can hardly keep pace with expanding protein demand here in South Africa. So there is more scope actually for further improvements, but I don't think that soybean production can be raised sufficiently to eliminate the requirements for imports. They will continue to import soybean meal, I'm quite sure, because of their requirements here.
What about Africa as a whole? Is there a growth market for soybeans here?
Yes, there's a good growth market in the feed sector as well as for food. The food industry also requires rising quantities of soybeans. Both have good growth potential in all over the continent, not only in the Republic of South Africa. Population is rising fast. We shouldn't forget this. This is still a factor which drives demand in the coming years.